Hello and welcome back to RobWD's Fantasy Premier League. Sorry it's been a little bit late in the week this time, but it is just before week 3. So, again, if you didn't know, there is a fantasy football league. I think it's now almost got 200 people on the league and slightly less in the head-to-head. And it's been a great response so far. Me personally, I think I'm around the top 60. And my biggest problem is I've misplaced my captaincy. So, for example, I do have the likes of Pogba and Lukaku. Just didn't have the captain's armband on those players at the right time. So I'm just getting above average scores. But there have been some corking scores so far. Especially the first week had the Liverpool players and the second week had the United players. So obviously people have put captains and triple points on already. And it's been a great start. So a roundup of week 1, and remember I said I'm going to go through first part will be roundup, second part will be looking back at the predictions I made, third part will be player picks and dodges, and fourth part will be final thoughts. Just also pointing out, I know that it's just a picture of my face today, it's not frozen or anything like that, just the lighting is not right and I don't want it to green screen flutter everywhere. So, sorry, no face. But let's just get straight into it because I want these to be more concise, to the point, quick, weekly updates. So, round 1, team of the week has got to go to Manchester United. Remember, guys, I'm talking about Fantasy Premier League. I'll talk about United later, but the fact is they scored 4 goals and they didn't concede. So, from a fantasy football point of view, they were easily the team of the week. And player of the week is going to go to Paul Pogba as well. He bagged 2 assists and 1 goal. He was the highest scoring player last week in fantasy football in the Premier League. So obviously he's going to get the nod there. And personally, in real life, I think, not talking about fantasy football, I do think that he is, you know, coming out of his shell again. Maybe we're going to see more of the Juventus Pogba that we've seen in the past that we didn't quite see in the Premier League last year. And flop of the week, it's going to be another red card. Now first, this could have been Hugo Lloris. He only scored 1 point in the Fantasy League last week, but, you know, his costly mistake against Alonso at the near post against Chelsea cost him, you know, gave Chelsea 3 points, let alone costing Spurs any chance of picking up any points. But it is going to go to Arnautovic. West Ham away from home against a team they probably would have fancied beating, or at least having a good go against. Southampton, who couldn't get a goal against Swansea at all the previous week, and he's put his team right in the crapper, and it was fortunate that they fought back as well as they did, West Ham losing it right at the end. But yeah, definitely Arnautovic, you're at a new club, new fans, new manager, new everything, and in your second game you're just going to do that. That is just absolutely ridiculous. So looking back at the predictions I made last week, and I said choose Liverpool, and surprisingly they only won 1-0, but at the end of the day they dominated the game, which I thought they would, and they did keep a clean sheet. So if you had any Liverpool defenders, they obviously would have got a lot of points, but I was surprised about the attack. However, I did not take into consideration Klopp's feeling of strength that he has in his squad. Obviously against Hoffenheim, they're trying to get into the Champions League. I didn't think he was going to drop that many of his normal first team starting 11 players, because I don't think Liverpool actually do have the squad depth. I think they were fortunate the fact they had Palace this week. I think had it been a mid-table, you know, a top 10 team, we might have seen something different. So that was my fault. I didn't think he was going to drop them. I thought he would have just kept it, but never mind. And second of all, I said David Silva. Granted, he only got 2 points fantasy football wise, so he wasn't the greatest idea to choose. However, if you actually watch the game, he came close to scoring. He was trying to create, and he did rattle the post as well. It reminded me of Juan Mata's performance in week 1 for Manchester United. It seemed like he was always on the end, but he was always like one pass away from the assist. So it'd be Mata to somebody, goal. And, you know, that might be the problem with David Silva this season, the fact that he isn't the last person to touch for the goal scorer. So he only got 2 points. And I also said drop Rob Holding if you had him, because he looked like he was going to be a starting player. You know, the defence is still shaky. They're playing left backs at centre backs, so you would think centre back Rob Holding would keep his position. I didn't think he would, and he was dropped. I also did tell people to avoid Palace players because of the conflict with Liverpool, and again that would be right, because obviously they did lose only 1-0, but they still lost, but also that they didn't score. going on to my player picks and dodges and talk about the teams as well. So player pick, it's going to go to Higazi, the West Brom defender. He's bagged 23 points already this season, so he's already gone slightly up in price, but still nowhere near the likes of most of them. And West Brom are yet to concede. 2 games, no goals have gone in the back of their net. And although Stoke beat Arsenal last week, I imagine that at the least Stoke, West Brom at West Brom isn't going to be an 8-goal thriller. You know, even Stoke last week only won 1-0. New signing Hesse, I think they call him, but we always just see it as Jesse. He seems like he's got a bit about him, but I don't think he's 100% fit because he didn't last the full game, but he is looking a bit tasty. But I do feel like Stoke aren't going to be banging in the goals, and with 23 points already on the board, he's not expensive. I would probably put him as my pick of the week. Player dodges, I am going to just basically say Bournemouth. Bournemouth are yet to score this season in 2 games, and City are going to want to bounce back strong. They are the title favourites. They believe they are the title favourites, and I think that, you know, with not getting all 3 points, albeit they were down to 10 men, not getting all the points against Everton, they're going to come back all guns blazing, and I do think that, you know, last season and the season before, it felt like Bournemouth could score. They always concede, in my opinion. Is it in my opinion? I think it's fact. They do often concede, but they would also get a few goals. King at the end of last season was amazing. But I do feel that with them not scoring, and I do think City are going to come right at them, I do feel like this fantasy week, looking at the fixtures, Bournemouth look the most likely to concede a few goals. And my player dodge of the week is actually going to be Harry Kane. It's the August curse. Apparently he's yet to score in August in the Premier League. Spurs are at home and they're still shaky at Wembley, and they're against Burnley, who first game of the season went to Chelsea and won. And we all know the kind of team Burnley can be. They'll always try and win the games against mid-table teams and down, but against those top sides, they will put up that brick wall, grind you down, wear you out, and try and nick a goal. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen again. Also, people forget the Wembley effect. The idea of playing at Wembley used to be because of semi-finals and finals, and you would try, your best to perform on the biggest stage. These clubs like Burnley, no offense to Burnley, but they're not usually at Wembley because of success, like cup success. So I feel like when these clubs like Burnley go to Wembley, they are going to be so up for it that the chances are they might even nick all 3 points here against Spurs. The last part now, final thoughts and advice. I would suggest that people don't play their triple captain. I'd be surprised how many people have played triple captain in the first couple of weeks. But for me, this week's fixtures are really tough to call. Even when I said that I think that City is almost a dead cert win against Bournemouth, it could be a Brighton situation again when they're having to grind away and they're winning 1 or 2-0. I don't think it's going to be like 5-0 Manchester City, but it could be. But do you want to risk that? I don't like risking my triple captain, week 3 against a top team, against a lower team, at the lower team's home ground. I want to be doing it near Christmas, where the top of the table team are 10 points clear, and it's against bottom of the table who's got 2 points all season, So I would advise not playing triple captain. And also, don't be so sure about Manchester United. I did mention before, when I was saying that they're a team of the week, yes, fantasy football wise, but personally, I don't think they were actually that good against Swansea. I'm pleasantly surprised by Swansea. They shut out Southampton away from home, and they were doing a cracking job, to be honest, against Manchester United. It was just a crazy few minutes when they banged in all those goals, but I don't think that made United look any better. They were clinical, I think that's what it was. So, in my opinion, I think it's going to be a lot tougher against this Leicester City side, who have had a really nice start to the season, especially with Maguire in that defence, who in my opinion is an absolutely fantastic defender. So guys, if you're still liking the series, please show your support, leave a like, maybe subscribe, leave a comment about who do you want to pick this week and who would you avoid. And just for the outro, I'm going to pop on the tables to see who is top and who is bottom of the Fantasy Football League for our YouTube channel. So thanks again, guys, and as always, have a good one.